Mm, 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 mm. Do, 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 do. Well, I think it's time to rise and shine, people. It's time to get up. So let us get up and
Here we go, all the way, gotta be, rough and tough, bow diddly, have you heard?
We're gonna jump from a big iron bird.
We're gonna jump from a big iron bird.
Stand up, hook up, shuffle to the door.
Stand up, hook up, shuffle to the door.
And you leap right out and count to 4.
Leap right out and count to 4.
If my main don't open wide,
If my main don't open wide,
I got a reserve by my side.
I got a reserve by my side.
Here we go, all the way, gotta be, rough and tough,
rough and tough.
hey lottie, lottie, lottie. Hey lottie, lottie, lottie. Well, it's G.I. grits and G.I. gravy. We're so glad we didn't join the Navy. Well, it's G.I. greens and G.I. corn. We're so proud that we're airborne. Here we go, all the way, every day, all the way.
well, good morning. It's time
Here
to
we go,
get
all the way,
up.
Gotta be,
It's time to get up. It is. It is. Time to wake up. Time to wake up. Get up. Let's get the rolling. You're losing daylight.
from a big iron bird.
We're gonna jump from a big iron bird.
Stand up, hook up, shuffle to the door.
Stand up, hook up, shuffle to the door.
And you leap right out and count to 4.
Leap right out and count to 4.
If my main don't open wide,
If my main don't open wide,
I got a reserve by my side.
I got a reserve by my side.
Here we go, all the way.
Time to rise and shine, people.
Rough and
Time to get up.
tough. Hey lottie,
Get moving.
lottie, lottie. Hey lottie, lottie, lottie.
Time to get up. Time to wake up.
Well,
PT
G.I.
time.
grits and G.I. gravy. We're so glad we didn't join the Navy. Well, G.I. greens and G.I. corn. We're so proud that we're airborne. Here we go, all the way, every day, all the way, airborne.
Okay, that means that it is time to rise and shine this morning because it's time to get up. It's time to. Oh, wait a minute. Who is that? I'm not even got my daily bread yet. Hello.
Early combo check.
Okay, I appreciate it, bro. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Yeah, like to have a combo check first thing in the morning. That's something that we may need. Okay, then. But right now, it's time for our daily bread because that's how we roll around here. We get the word from on high first, and then everything else is just a matter of well, it's just common sense. So we'll come back right after this. Today is our daily bread. It is, believe it or not, I just can't believe it. But you know what? You know what day it is? It is July the 2nd, 2025. In the year 25. You know what? We heard that years and years ago. We thought that was such a long way off. But it's here. By the grace of God and the good Lord, we are still here with it. So let us give thanks for that. But right now, it's time for our daily bread, something to get us on the roll. And when we come back, we get this day started.
There are no soloists in God's orchestra.
Our Daily Bread.
Today's encouragement from the Our Daily Bread devotional was written by David McCaslin. David writes, "During our granddaughter's school band concert, I was impressed by how well this group of 11 and 12-year-olds played together. If each of them had wanted to be a solo performer, they could not have achieved individually what the band did collectively. The woodwinds, brass, and percussion sections all played their parts, and the result was beautiful music." To the followers of Jesus in Rome, Paul wrote, "In Christ we, though many, form one body, and each member belongs to all the others. We have different gifts according to the grace given to each of us. Among the gifts Paul mentioned are prophecy, service, teaching, encouragement, giving, leadership, and mercy. Each gift is to be exercised freely for the good of all." David continues, "One definition of in concert is agreement in design or plan, combined action, harmony or accord. That's the Lord's plan for us as His children through faith in Jesus Christ. Romans 12:10 says, "Be devoted to one another in love. Honor one another above yourselves." The goal is cooperation, not competition. In a sense, we are on stage before a watching and listening world every day. There are no soloists in God's concert band, but every instrument is essential. The music is best when we each play our part in unity with others.
Today's Our Daily Bread devotional scripture reading is from Romans chapter 12, verses 3 through 8. "For by the grace given me, I say to every one of you, do not think of yourself more highly than you ought, but rather think of yourself with sober judgment, in accordance with the faith God has distributed to each of you. For just as each of us has one body with many members, and these members do not all have the same function, so in Christ we, though many, form one body, and each member belongs to all the others. We have different gifts according to the grace given to each of us. If your gift is prophesying, then prophesy in accordance with your faith. If it is serving, then serve. If it is teaching, then teach. If it is to encourage, then give encouragement. If it is giving, then give generously. If it is to lead, do it diligently. If it is to show mercy, do it cheerfully." That's today's scripture reading from Romans chapter 12, verses 3 through 8.
Lord, you are the conductor of our lives. We want to play your song of love and grace in concert with your children today. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Today's encouragement was provided by Our Daily Bread Ministries. There are no soloists in God's orchestra.
We can't hear you. You need to read your little things. I put a note on there, and so did somebody else. So now we can hear you. Okay, I'm gonna call back later. So, all right, bye. Bye. All right. All right. Bye.
My bad. I got it now. I got it now. I got it now. My bad. I got it. Okay. I got it. I got it now.
No sound again.
Yeah, I got it. I got it now. That's all. All right. Appreciate it. Yeah. Anyway, so let me start over again. We were talking about the headline today where families in Alabama can have access to Alabama's newest school choice funds, and I guess where the money follows the child. Choose stands for creating hope and opportunity for our students' education. And again, one thing about the education business, they come up with a lot of acronyms. I mean, I think they come up with the acronyms, the word, and then they try to figure out what to go with it. Anyway, it will give up to $7,000 per eligible student enrolled in a participating school and $2,000 per participating student enrolled in a home education program with a maximum of $4,000 per family. More than 36,000 students applied this year, and more than 23,000 of them were approved in the initial year. Uh, so the first ESAs were awarded to participating students with special needs. Second priority was given to students who are dependents of active duty service members enrolled in or assigned to a priority school. So it sounds, I'm all right with it. Now, I know the people in the education system are always going to whine about it. Well, you taking money from us. Well, not really. If you get so much money per child, and that child is not there, then why should you keep getting the money? So I mean, that's a whining they always doing about this stuff. Again, I get people out here I talked to recently. They're paying $18,000 a year to send their child to a private school. So again, no one would pay $18,000 a year if they could get the same education from public school. It wouldn't make any sense whatsoever. Okay, so they just do what they have to do for their kids. I mean, do you blame them? Most of us wish we had $18,000 extra a year to spend on something, and unfortunately, a lot of parents spend that money on public school, on school for their education for their kids, and I don't blame them. I don't blame them, but I do think, and this is just me, I do believe that, and we'll get to the president's big old bill here in a minute too, because it's all right. But I mean, I like some things in it, and then there's probably some things that we won't like in it. But it's kind of like I told the city council one day. No matter who's in office, doesn't make a difference whatsoever. Who's in office, we are going to complain. And when I say we, I mean all of us. We're going to complain about somebody that's in office. So you have to take the totality of a person's efforts. Okay, take out the things you don't like and see whether or not the scales are balanced. From that we like and that we don't like. We are never going to like everything. Never going to like everything. Okay. Somebody saw Jesus walking on the water and they start complaining that why did they have to be in the boat? Hey, that's just the way it is sometimes. Okay. Anyway, it's 73 degrees outside this morning. If you are interested in the full forecast, well, here it is. So we will tell you about that. Right now, it's 74 degrees outside. Today, there's going to be a 30% chance of rain, areas in patchy fog early. So if you're going to leave home a little bit early, that way you won't be running in the back of anybody. Cloudy and damp with occasional drizzle this morning. Sorry about that. And then becoming part. Oh well. Didn't get a chance for the mute button there. Winds northwest at 5 to 10 miles per hour on tonight. Not that high chance of rain tonight or precipitation. Only a 6% chance of rain tonight, a few passing clouds. Otherwise, generally clear, low up 70 degrees, winds light and variable. Tomorrow, there's a 5%. So it looks like the rain is dampering down. We didn't have enough of it the last month. 5% chance of precipitation tomorrow. So pretty much partly cloudy skies, high 94. Winds northwest at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Precipitation, in the next 6 hours, about 30% chance. Moderate pollen, although I don't know what pollen looks like. I keep hearing about it. It's kind of like Sasquatch. I heard about them, but I've never seen them. The air quality of Montgomery right now is pretty good. That means that you can go outside without your mask. And the UV index is extreme and around 11. Basically, that means that sunny skies, the sun's going to be coming down. Yeah. Again, I don't ever understand people who wear sunscreen, but they come outside to get brown. I don't know what that's all about. But I don't wear sunscreen because the good Lord gave us automatic sunscreen. Okay? I got protection with my genealogy. I'm protected from the sun. Okay, I'm just saying. Are we really protected from sun? I'm not sure. Anyway, good morning to you. How's everybody doing? Now, a lot of celebrating going on, a lot of celebration and a lot of whining going on about the president's big beautiful bill. So I did a little research on that bill and going to tell you some of the things that are in it. It's never as bad as Democrats say it is. It never is that bad. It's just never as bad as they say it is. But they want to scare everybody like the world's coming to an end. I mean, at some point it probably will, but not over what happens in the White House. Okay, it will because what happens in our house. So, good morning to everybody. The time right now is 7:19 in the morning. Oh yeah, plus today I gotta be on Hagler's show today. We're gonna go out there and tick people off on the other side of town. What I'm going to be on there about, what time I'm going to be on there? We're going to be on there like 11 to 12 or something like that. Yeah, with Joe Hagler show. He wanted greatness to come on the show today, so he called me. That's cool. We can do that. I can do that. But the president's bill, that bill, I'm going to give the people in Washington, D.C., I'm going to give them the credit that they know more than I do about this stuff. Okay, I'm going to assume that they know more than I do, and I'm just gonna sit on the sideline and see what happens. But the one thing that we do know that if this bill doesn't, it's going to get reconciled I think back in the House of Representatives. If it doesn't go all the way through, without changes, then it looks like it's going to be okay for some things, such as the permanent tax cuts. It extends all of the 2017 Tax Cuts and Job Act provisions, making them permanent, including business break, a SALT cap boost, and more. Okay, so state and local tax SALT deductions increase. It raises the cap from 10,000 K to 40K for 5 years before reverting. Okay, defense and border funding. It injects roughly about $150 billion into defense. We need defense. We need it now more than ever. It increases ISIS capacity and boosts border wall and asylum processing budget. Um, I don't know. I'm still kind of. I don't really like the way we doing the ICE thing, but it's not my. It's not my. It's not my role. I mean, I understand why it's being done, but I'm not. I'm not a fan of the way we're actually doing it. I'm just not. I just think it's kind of. It's a little bit inhumane in my own man. Yeah, I know they came across some of them came across the border illegally, but I would have came too if the president of the United States said, "Hey, wink, wink, you come on in. You know, we'll take you." Man, we all just leave them alone. Okay, and what we need to do, and this is just me, we need to do is close the borders for about close immigration to the United States for about 18 months until we can figure out who's here, why they here, and stuff of that nature, and do they mean us harm? Because right now we don't really know. Anyway, now there are people saying we're going to get rid of food stamps or the SNAP program. Okay, I forgot what SNAP stands for, but it's the food stamps program. I think Bush had a sign that said food insecurity. Implements a stricter, and this is cool, work requirement, tighter eligibility reviews, and shifts costs to states or on states. And listen, I mean, if it's the state people that are getting it, then why not put some of the responsibility on them, especially those with higher error rates? And I don't really know what that means. Um, Clean energy bill, but the SNAP thing. Have you ever been to the store and people want to sell you their SNAP? I mean, they want to. I mean, I was at one the other day. Somebody said, "Well, I'll buy your groceries for you." Well, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't. I just wouldn't. I wouldn't do that. First of all, if you got them, that means you need them. But I also understand sometimes that you can have food stamps and your life's going to get cut off, and I understand that too. As a matter of fact, I want you guys to watch this movie called by Tyler Perry called what's it called? It's a new movie. It's called you got to see this movie. It portrays what it's really like being poor, or at least not having the opportunity to do things you like to do. It is called like a straw, STRAW, straw. You need to look at that movie, and then you'll get some. If you've never actually known what it's like to go from one day to another, not knowing exactly what's going to happen, you got a boss that's on your butt, acting, and it's a great movie. And I hope they win an Oscar. This, to me, the movie The Straw is better than what's the name of that movie with Oprah Winfrey in it years ago? The Color Purple. It's better than that. It's better than that. Anyway, implement stricter work requirements for food stamp and thing. And I don't have a problem with that. I mean, it's just if you can get a job, then why not get a job? Okay. I mean, why not get a job? You get a job, why not get a job? Okay. If you can get a job. So I don't see any problem with that. So after all, the money's not free. Somebody has to pay for it, and that means us. All right. Some of the fiscal impact and social consequences of that. We got a $3.3 trillion to an $8 trillion added to the federal deficit over the next decade. I could care less. I could care. I don't care how much money is added to the billion. Listen, just print some more money. Okay, just print some more money. I don't really care about the debt. I really don't. I'm just as poor whether we owe the Chinese or not. Okay, so I don't really care about the debt. If we can give money to every other country, if we can go in debt to give money to every other country, doggone it, we ought to go into debt to give our own folks a break. So let's print some more money. Somebody tell the the Treasury down there that turn on them presses and let's print some more dollar bills. Okay. As a matter of fact, forget the dollar bill. We just need to print fives and five, tens and 20s and hundreds. Okay. Personally, I like to see $1,000 bill again. We used to have $1,000 bills back in the 70s. You ever seen one? Mm-hmm. Anyway, so let me see what else is in that bill. Yeah. Okay. It passed narrowly, okay, in the Senate, and the vice president, of course, gave the broke the tie. Okay, you're right, and it was amongst party lines, which I expect that Republicans Susan Collins though and Tom Tillis and Rand Paul voted against the bill. Okay, that's cool. Democratic backlash, of course, polling shows that 55% of Americans oppose it. We don't know what's in it. We don't have a clue what's in the bill. 55% of the American public can even tell you who the Secretary of State is. They can't tell you who anybody is. So I think that's a lie. Okay, our people don't even know who their congressman is. How in the world are they going to know what's in a bill they haven't seen? Seriously, really? Democrats will highlight its unpopular head of the midterm. We'll see. Okay, that's a bunch of crap. They don't know this. They don't know what's in the bill. How they gonna be 55% of people against 55% of people don't even know where Washington D.C. is on a map. Good morning.
Good morning, Kevin. How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing fine, Mr. Bud.
Just spend some more. That's what you just said, right?
That's right. We spend it for everybody else, so why not spend it for ourselves?
Man, when you're in a deep hole, what's the answer? Keep on digging, right?
No, put the dirt underneath your feet to keep that way you keep rising.
Do you know in 2008, what the M2 money supply, that is the amount of cash in circulation,
right,
from a dollar standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
And in 2008, the M2 money supply was $2 trillion.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, it's over $19 trillion.
Yeah, I wonder who's got it.
A good question. What that means is the Feds just printed money.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the $1 bill in the year 1900 is worth only 3 pennies today.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that.
Well, at least it's not totally zeroed out.
Do you remember right after World War I, there were pictures in Germany of people that were going to buy a loaf of bread with a wheelbarrow of money. You ever see those pictures?
Yeah, but hey, listen, that was probably a Democrat putting that out. I mean, come on.
But you know, we talk about inflation and we talk about the stock market. I mean, for instance, the stock market's what, $44,000.
Mm-hmm.
It is so devalued because of the cheap money. They called it quantitative easing that began under Obama, and it kept on going. That's called counterfeit if you or I were to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But if the government did it, which they did, quantitative easing. You know, that's why the money ain't worth nothing nowadays. I mean, you go and buy a loaf of bread at Walmart. The cheapest you're going to spend is about $2, and that's for the Walmart brand.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, just keep on spending. No, I'm actually falling out with Trump in this regard. I agree completely with Elon. With this bill, this big, beautiful bill,
yes,
there's good aspects to it, and there are a lot of bad aspects to it.
Well, give me a couple of bad aspects that you know of.
Well, to raise the debt ceiling by $5 trillion, at least Massey and Ron Paul said, you know, I would vote for this if every 3 months Congress had to come back and vote again to raise the national debt ceiling. Because at least it would be on their forefront of their minds. I mean, we're going to go from 37 trillion, and right now we've authorized, if it passes the House in the next day or so, we're going to automatically go to $42 trillion. And that's just the debt that we know of. Unfunded liabilities, we actually have over $170 trillion in unpaid liabilities. I mean, little money you get from the Army ain't going to be worth jack squat.
Well, it ain't worth a whole lot now, but still, but still, we can spend money. Maybe we ought to stop spending money to other places and cut off some of this foreign aid we give people
Well,
and spend on
that's
our own
going to
people.
be such a small amount. I mean, you understand this discretionary spending.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, the DOD, okay, which is $976 billion budget right now. All the discretionary spending is about only 20% of the federal budget. Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, these type programs, what are called entitlements, count for 80%, and it's automatically increased cost of living. And Congress can't touch that.
Well, then, if Congress can't touch it, that's because Congress made the rule not to touch it.
Can you imagine 80% of your budget? You couldn't adjust that if money got tight.
Then it wasn't your money.
You'd be eating dog food, man.
I know, but it wasn't
You
your
and me
money
both.
then. But Congress makes these rules. Again, though, listen, we open up the floodgates. We let everybody in here. And do you not believe that we have an obligation to at least help the poor to the extent that we can? Don't we?
The citizens, yes. I would say
Citizens, yeah.
our VAs, our vets that have been out there, they sacrificed the country, absolutely. Our citizens themselves, yes. Take care of those that have been here, but illegal immigrants just coming in, why do we owe them anything? And take care of our own first. If you have a surplus, then you can look at that. Okay, I'm not going to just cut them out entirely, even though I'll tell you 99.9999999%. Yeah, they ain't going to get jack squat under the Budd administration. More likely even the Kevin administration. But I mean, if you can't touch 80% of your spending, what's going to change?
Well, they made the rules. You know what I'm saying? They made the rules. A friend of I'm going to get him on air in a little bit here. He was trying to explain. My good lawyer friend Joe Reed. He's a good Democrat, but he did make some sense last night about this bill and about some of the things that are going on in Washington D.C. How much of a drag if we got rid of every illegal alien in America, would our budget be better?
It would be a lot. I do agree. Let me sidestep one thing you just said. Congress makes the rules.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem is so many of the laws that they're dealing with right now that ties their hands were made 30 and 40 years ago. I mean, Tip O'Neill was the Speaker of the House and Reagan was the president.
Mm-hmm.
It goes back that far. And if you want to change the law, then all of a sudden you have to have 60 votes in the Senate to get around the filibuster. And so the laws that were made back then had a good purpose, clearly defined, taking care of them. But over 45, 50 years, they have ballooned into a manner that never was devised when that law was passed. I mean, when you're talking about illegals, if we got rid of all of them, again, like we talked the other day, I don't believe in getting all of them. I think we need a green card for migrant workers, farm workers, these type of things that go through the process legally. Because as I said, 60-year-old me and you, we're not going to be out in those fields in Florida picking up watermelons and cantaloupes and broccoli and all the other vegetables. So we got to have that. But if you took away the housing, SNAP benefits, free health care, all these other benefits that illegals get better than citizens of America, and vets that have served their country, if you got rid of all the social services, maybe they would then self-deport. And I think that would be a tremendous amount of money that could be saved. But still, maybe only 2 or 3%, 4%. I think they said Medicaid in the budget only counts like just a tad over 4%. Both illegal and legal citizens, 4%. So, I mean, if you got rid of all the illegals, you might cut 1% off of Medicaid. Very, very little.
Mm. Well, I mean, maybe so, but I just don't. When we complain about spending our own money on our own people, uh, that kind of like goes in one ear and out the other. I just say print some more money.
Well, take care of your own first. I'll tell you that right now.
Mm.
Take care, again, priorities, veterans, seniors on Medicare, those with Social Security, then our regular citizens, our regular poor that qualify for Medicaid, and the very last, if there's a surplus, illegal immigrants. In that order.
Mm. All right. Well, you know,
You
again,
have a good, sir.
this okay, but what about the permanent tax cuts that had they not passed? If this bill doesn't go all the way through, then everybody's going to get a tax hike.
It is. I mean, folks that are working, I mean, seniors right now,
Mm-hmm.
if they did not vote for it, they would have a tax increase. I mean, in your 60s and 70s, your overtime, all these other things. But of course, that was overtime, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime. That was not enacted in the 2017 tax form. But yeah, you will have a lot of deductions that go away. So, you know, they talk about tax cuts for billionaires. No, if you take a look at what actually the citizens that benefited, literally 80% of all citizens from the 2017 tax cut of Trump actually received a tax deduction. They got money back.
Yeah.
So yeah, that 68% would indeed now have to pay taxes that they have not had to pay for 5, 6, 7 years.
Mm.
But again, that's not a tremendous amount. We got to get the non-discretionary spending under control, or we're screwed.
All righty then. I appreciate it. It's always
Thank
a
you,
pleasure.
Kevin.
But it's always a pleasure hearing your views. Well, what can I tell you? What can I tell you? No matter what happens, somebody's going to complain about it. No matter what we do. I'm just thinking, you know, we've taken care of the world for a long time. We spent money here, spent money there, from the northeast to west to the south. I just don't have a problem with spending some of our money on our own folks out there. I just don't. I mean, I know the uh, what is I know the ramifications of hyperinflation and things of that nature. Well, I guess we can start like baking our own bread and don't have to go out to the store and buy it and stuff like that. You know, can't be buying extra potato chips and things of that nature. Maybe we'll just buy all the things that we need, since our money won't really let us buy all those luxuries. Somehow, with all the doom and gloom, though, we always seem to make it some kind of way. I don't know what's up with that, but we always seem to make it some kind of way. So I'm not really worried about it, to tell you the truth. I'm just not. We've been here and do, you know, and back in 1970, they say in the year 2525. Well, guess what? The year 2525 is here. If we still alive, how the sun goes. And so, you know, we still surviving. Can we do a better job economically? Probably. But listen, I got the experts and the college professors to worry about that kind of thing, and the folks up in Washington, D.C. But one thing I have figured out, though, I used to think people in Washington, D.C. and people in local government were smarter than I am. That's not necessarily so. That's not necessarily so. I mean, they got the job for sure, but I don't know. Do we have a different set of leadership today? Are the qualifications for leadership today what they were years ago? Are the people that we vote for? We used to vote for people who we thought were smarter than we are. And I got to tell you, some of the decisions that are made by some of our folks, I mean, some of the leadership in local and in national politics, just it boggles my mind the things that they believe. It just amazes me. So maybe that's part of our problem. We don't really have thinkers anymore. We have reactors in politics, not really thinkers. You know, the gone are the Winston Churchills and the Dwight David Eisenhowers, and the folks like that. You know, Margaret Thatcher's. I don't know who we got. Who we got? Well, Martin Luther King's gone. We don't have. We just don't have people who really count the cost of some of the decisions that they make. Although they did in Montgomery, they did demolish the what's the name, the governor's house. I mean, that thing we've been talking about demolishing that place for 20 something years that I remember. I mean, it's just been sitting there. They finally demolished it. I don't. We could have made it. You know, I don't know. And another thing, have we gotten that place for the Salvation Army? I mean, have we gotten the place for the Salvation Army to move yet? I mean, we got you talking about something a little bit of our problems there. Well, we got people whose job it who made it their life mission to help folks who need a place to stay or a hand up, and but we don't want them in our neighborhood. I mean, we got people who say, well, you know, church going folks who do not want the Salvation Army in their communities. So where are we supposed to put them? And you got to put them you got to put them in a place where they get access to public transportation. But we can't seem to, we really can't seem to get our act together. So, you know, we are hypocrites in this city. You know, I mean, I can sort of understand not putting it out there in Wind Lakes. I can kind of understand that. I mean, those are some valuable properties out there, and I understand. I got that part. But it looks like every city councilman uh, has opposition to the Salvation Army. You know, and so where are these people going to stay? I mean, where they gonna go? You know, and then we're gonna go to church on Sunday, act like we're doing the right thing, but we won't let the Salvation Army move where they need to move to. So I don't know. I'm a little bit perturbed by the whole Salvation Army thing. Okay, I mean, again, we worried about what's going on in Washington D.C., but we don't really worry about a whole lot here. I mean, these people have been without a place to put their place up for a while now, a couple of years, and because nobody wants them in their neighborhood. Well, take them to the east side. East side, not so quickly over here. Okay, take them to the west side. Well, we already got enough this. We already got enough that. I mean, so does anybody know where the Salvation Army is? I mean, and they get paid to, you know, they help people, but nobody wants them in their community. Okay, so I don't know, you know, but I mean, we kind of hypocritical. Okay. Also, did you hear that Jimmy Swaggart died? He was 90 though. He lived a good while there, yeah, but he was 90. Oh, Jimmy Swaggart used to get on TV and just start crying and everything. But I liked him. Okay, I'm just saying I like little Jimmy. Moving on to other things though. Now it is the 4th of July, and there are people again want to boycott all the stores. Now I don't do boycotts. Okay, I just don't do the boycott thing because, well, first of all, it doesn't really do any good to boycott because I'm still going to the store. You're still going to the store. So why am I boycotting for? I mean, really, seriously, what am I boycotting? Okay, what people do with their business is on them. Okay, and who's boycotting now? The People's Union USA, an advocacy group behind previous boycotts of Target, Walmart, Amazon, and McDonald's. Why you gonna boycott McDonald's? Okay, is urging Americans to stage another protest this Independence Day, and it's going to do the same thing the last one did. Okay, This time, the group is calling not only for an economic boycott, but also for people to skip fireworks displays, parades, and shopping at major chains. Instead, supporters are encouraged to spend their money at small local businesses when making holiday purchases. I don't really have a problem with that, but I think they can do that anytime they want to anyway. But I'm trying to figure out why are we want to boycott Mickey D's? I mean, they still got the well now they ain't even have the best fries anymore. Crystal's got the best fries right now. I don't know about Mickey D's, but now in recent Instagram video, John Schwartz, founder of the People's Union USA, cited a combination of factors behind the call to boycott, including recent immigration and customs enforcement arrests, corporate decision, and backlash against protests and policies under the Trump administration. Okay, that they got Trump derangement syndrome is what they have. I don't want to boycott, but I would like the president to restructure the way we address the immigration issue. I just don't like the part where we look like we just go around and start arresting people, good people who've been here for years. One lady the other day had been here 47 years. Really, so now we're gonna send her back to wherever she's from. Obviously, she came here as a child, and now we're gonna send her back to where they're from. They're gonna be they will be a stranger in their own land. Okay, I just say close. Let's stop all immigration for 18 months. Okay, just stop it all. Okay, unless you get one of those, what do you call them, special education visas or something like that. But stop, close the border, put the wall up, and let us figure out who's here. That's what we actually need to do. We need to figure out who is here. Okay, and when we can do that, then we can start back opening the gates. A country who charge taxes on groceries, property, car tax, candy bars, potato chips, drinks, children buy, and many other things they can come up with. Well, what's wrong paying taxes on them? You don't need them. Nobody needs candy bars, potato chips, drinks. I mean, they don't need that stuff. But if you wanted, then you pay a little. You should be willing to pay a little extra for it. Okay. I personally think, listen, every time we want to raise taxes, we ought to raise taxes on sugar items. Okay, we should do that. We could raise taxes on sugar items, and therefore it won't bother anybody except the people who buy Coca-Cola, like me. I don't care if they put $1 tax on every bottle of Coke. I'm still going to buy at least one Coke, 2 Cokes a week, because I don't need them. Okay, and they're bad for you anyway. So I don't go. We need a sugar tax. Yeah, we do. If you want to eat junk, but what we do is, well, here's what we do. We go to the store, and they say you need to eat healthy. Okay, eating healthy is good. Has anybody went to the store lately and tried to buy healthy food? The healthy food is high. The junk food is cheap. So do they really want me to eat healthy? I don't think so. So I'll tell you. Yeah, let's do that backwards. Let's charge a lot for the junk food and charge a reasonable amount for the good food. Okay, I'm just saying. Bananas. Now I personally don't eat tomatoes. I don't find them. As a matter of fact, they told me tomatoes They said tomato. Did you guys know that tomato is not a vegetable? It's a fruit. Did you guys know that? It's not a vegetable. Like I didn't really understand that corn is not a vegetable either. I don't know what it is, but it's a starch, but it's not a vegetable. I didn't realize that. So now I'm just kind of, women here 47 years came over before the fall of Shah of Iran. Right at the fall, because that 47 I was in the army, and we were getting ready to go with it, as a matter of fact, and I'm glad I didn't have to go. But still. Why are we sending her home? Why are we sending her to a land that she knows nothing about? Okay. Somebody said, that's right. Your local politicians are not smart. Tommy Tuberville listen, I like Tuberville. And sometimes common sense is the best sense. I mean, so- but when you make that kind of, I like Tuberville. I think Tuberville just puts it where the goats can get on it. He doesn't mince words. He says what he means and means what he says. I don't have a problem with that. The old coach there, I don't have a problem with Tuberville. I don't have a problem with the Brent either. Brett, I gotta see if I can get those guys on here one of these mornings. But so what is the problem with Tuberville? Marcel, what's the problem with Tuberville? Okay, and I don't have no problem putting grocery. But what's the problem with Tuberville? Give me an example. I get tired of people just making these aspersions. Well, give me something that makes the man seem like he's dumb. I mean, he made it to the U.S. Senate. Okay, I'm just saying. So you can he's not that dumb. So just tell me where he sends me lack of mental clarity or mental control. Okay, I'm just saying. Tell me, give me what you don't like about him. What has he said that's crazy? I don't think now Trump said some things that are kind of but that's okay. That's just the way he is. He's a New Yorker, and when I went to New York a couple years ago, I only went there for 24 hours and turned around and got back on the Greyhound bus. Yeah, I took a trip to New York because I wanted to see the last time I was in New York was 1975. Going headed to Fort Dix. I landed at LaGuardia, and I was lost then, and so I didn't really know what New York looked like. So I got on the Greyhound bus. Took me 24 hours to get there. I spent the night in a hotel that cost $300 a night, and I only took $400 with me. See, I'm thinking, okay, I got enough to last a week in New York, and buy some food, and until I went to Burger King, and the hamburger in 2022 when I was there, the hamburger was $15 then. So obviously my money didn't last very long in New York. Okay, so I had to get back on the bus and come on back to Montgomery, Alabama, where at least I could afford Burger King. Okay, because I couldn't afford nothing up there. Not a thing, not a thing. That's a shame, and it's going to be that way pretty soon around here too if we don't do something about our economy. But I don't have a problem with the with Tuberville. So tell me. I mean, y'all Democrats, y'all make all these aspersions, but just tell me what they're. Give me an example, Menifee. Give me an example of how Tuberville is somehow lacking the intellectual ability to do his job. Give me something. Just give me something. Okay. Anyway, we're talking about the protest that they're doing against Walmart, McDonald's, Starbucks, and all the rest of these people. In a recent Instagram, John Schwartz, founder of the People's Union USA, cites a combination of factors behind the call to boycott, which includes immigration and customs enforcement arrests, corporate decision, and backlash against protests and policies under the Trump administration. You gotta listen. You have a right to protest. You have a right to protest Trump. I mean, he's not God, but he's just a man like all the rest of us are. But I don't really have many protests against the guy. Okay, I just don't. Alabama will have a Free America protest uh, on the state capitol, I guess, on July the 4th. Swartz also called for Americans to avoid participating in person protests. Okay, to avoid participating in-person protests on July the 4th, urging a complete disengagement from traditional celebrations and large gatherings and encouraging participants to spend time with their families at home. I don't really have a problem with that. In Alabama, separate events called Free America Weekend plans to blend Independence Day festivities with a call to defend democracy and freedom for all. Okay, what I'm about to say what I'm about to say is what I'm about to say is going to be the shock to a lot of people. Okay, it's going to be it's going to be tough to handle for a lot of people to um to handle this. Okay, and I know it is going to go against everything you think you know about America, but you don't know this. So what I'm about to say, they don't teach it in school. Okay, they okay. I'm just going ahead and tell you. America is not a democracy. Okay. And I know that we got presidents who stupidly said that word. We've had politicians who used that word. We are not a democracy. Because if we were a democracy, it would be the majority of votes gets to pass everything. We are not a democracy. We are a representative republic, which means that, because if we were a democracy, I'd still be riding on the back of the bus. Okay, we are not a democracy. That's a word that has been used, misused, overused, mistakenly used. America is not a democracy. And I heard Bush say it. I've heard Obama say it. I don't know if I heard Trump say it yet, but we are not a democracy. And if you can't get the type of government that we are right, then how in the world are you going to get anything else right? We are not a democracy. In a democracy, the majority rule. In a representative republic, that's not necessarily so. Now, you can convince people on the other side to come help you, and that may work out for you, but we are not a democracy. And the next teacher in history class or civics lesson uses that word should be fired. We are not a democracy. Joe. Hey, Joe, I sent you the link. If you can get to it on your thing there. Tell you what I'm doing. I'm going to put this out on my Facebook page so you can get in. Okay, so I just want y'all to know we are not at the here we go. USA Today says Senator-elect Tommy Tuberville botches historical facts. So do professors in colleges. We all get something wrong. I didn't say he was perfect. I'm just saying that is he. Just give me. I mean, we all have what we call the gaps. We all have gaps in mentioning things. Okay, I'm just saying this. Don't tell anybody, hey, sports player, shut up about politics and play your sports. Well, I think they got a right to be political if they want to be. I think they got a right to be. Anybody does. You don't lose your right. The only people that lose their right to speak is lawyers. Lawyers are the only people. Wait. This is ironic. Lawyers who get paid to defend your rights lose their rights when they become a lawyer to speak. Wait a minute. They can no longer complain about our judicial system. They can't complain about a particular judge. Now you cannot, but so the guy who gets paid thousands of dollars to represent you cannot say certain things in the courtroom because he is limited to the speech he can use. Now, if you don't find that funny, I find that absolutely courageous. So he can know something, but he can't say it because it doesn't fall within the rules of evidence or whatever the dumb rules they have in the judge thing. Because judges sometimes, okay, you cannot have common sense. Again, get that's an opinion. I got no problem with opinions. I got, but give me a fact. Show me something where the man is shown an absolute object stupidity. Okay, because you accidentally say something wrong. If that's the case, then all of us are stupid because we all have said something that we found out later on that may not have been right. Okay, so I'm just saying, give me, just give me something the man done that's absolutely stupid. Okay. Here's a story. Tom botches historical fact. Well, he's not the only one that ever did that. I've done that. And you've done that too, Joe. I'm pretty sure you have. I'm pretty sure you haven't got every historical thing right in your life even in court. I bet you even mix cases up, not cases, but precedents up sometimes. So I'm just saying, let's not be petty here. Let's not be his job, like any other senator's job, is to represent the people that they represent. And if he represents us by keeping us engaged in the issues of today, then that's all I'm looking for. Let me go call his office and complain about him, whatever the case may be. But I'm just saying, show me where the guy is crazy. It's not very bright. I just don't. I think Tuberville's a pretty decent intellect. I think he's got a decent intellect. I don't think he's brilliant, but neither am I. Although I'm close to it. But anyway, let me take my little 3-minute break, and we shall return uno momento, and then I can show you guys some stuff here. So when we get back, we'll be back in a little bit here. So I got my 3-minute break. So 3 minutes, and I'll be back. Okay, well, 2.5 minutes maybe. All right. So don't go anyplace. We'll be right back after this. Okay, we're back. Good evening. Good morning. Hey, Joe, if you go to my Facebook page, you'll see but do this on your cell phone. If you want to come into the studio and you want to totally disagree with me face to face, you can do that. All you can do is go to my Facebook page and you'll see at the top of my page, you'll see a little blue box up there. If you click on that, but you got to do it on your cell phone, it'll bring you to our little studio here, and you can come on in and let's talk. I don't know if you just remember though, it's difficult. It's difficult to engage with me, the most brilliant man in podcasting now, was on the radio, and and come out unscathed. I mean, it may be something you may have PTSD for the rest of your life if you try to engage with me on a subject that I know everything about. Okay, and the one subject that I know everything about is common sense. Okay, I have a PhD in that. Okay, in common sense. So from now on, my name is going to be Dr. E. Okay, because I'm so well versed in using common sense until I should teach a class in it. Yeah, I should. Yeah, I should teach a class in common sense. Maybe I'll go to Alabama State or something like that and see if they'll give me a degree in it. An honorary PhD to make it official. I got my PhD off the internet. Yeah, I did. And listen, it looks pretty good too. It looks pretty good. I got that PhD off the internet, and it's looking good. I did get a theological degree from the internet also, but I realized there were smarter people around here than I am in that area, so I sent it back to them and asked for my $20 back. I never got the $20 back, but I got the theological degree, but there's some things I don't play with. I don't play with the good Lord. So, okay, I don't want you to call me Reverend Elkins because that's a title that is for people who know a lot more than I do about that particular thing. And see, I don't want to. I mean, I got enough things to pay for already. I don't need to pay for that one too. Okay, I'm just saying so. But the PhD in common sense. So if you guys want to, you can just call me Dr. E. Okay, I'm going to start next week. I'm going to change my name to Dr. Elkins because I'm an expert in common sense. I am. It's not anybody's fault. It is what it is. Okay. So if you want to give us a call, if you got something on your mind you totally disagree with me about, I like disagreement. 334-521-2963 is the number here. If you got something on your mind you want to talk about, okay? I'm just saying you might want to do that. So again, I know this came as a shock to people this morning who are always using that word democracy. America is not a democracy. Okay. Can the teachers in our schools, can the politicians that run for office, if they do not know that, they shouldn't run for office. Okay. We are not a democracy. Because if we were, a lot of things in this country would be a whole lot different, okay, than it is. So I'm just saying, y'all might want to, okay, you might want to get that. Of course, last week, a couple weeks, what day was that? We had the No Kings demonstration a couple weeks ago. That didn't do any good either. But what we did find out, in the No Kings whole thing is that let me see if I can get him. I don't see you in there, man. You might go back and do that again, Joe, because it's not. I don't see you in my back. I don't see you in my back room. Let me see here now. Invite a guest. Well, I don't see you. I don't see you in there. But anyway, so I'm waiting for Joe Reed to show up. He can't get his phone to working right quick, but hopefully we'll hope you'll get in. Or you can call me on the phone, Joe. We can talk about it there because I don't know. Some of you must got a cheap phone. Yeah, you must got a cheap phone. I don't know what that is because everybody else can get in. I'm waiting for you to let me in. Well, I don't see you on my screen here. I don't see you on my screen at all here. Let me see. Well, yeah. Well, okay. Well, you are in there, but you're not. What is up with this? Okay. Let me put another one. Okay, get out of that one, Joe, and I'm going to put another one on there in a couple of seconds here, and you'll be able to. Hopefully, you'll be able to get in on that way, because I don't know what's going on with that one. Because we certainly want you to chime in um, with this. So we're going to put this right here for you. This is strictly for Joe. Okay, it's strictly for Joe. So let me see if that one will do. Okay, pin post. Okay. Okay. So, Joe, let me see if that one should post. Um, no, okay, that's not okay. That's yours right there. There we go. Okay, that one should post. So come out and go there. Come back. And you ought to be able to get in. Then I'll ought to be able to see you once you get in the new one. Okay, yeah. So I love talking to Joe. Joe is it's an interesting attorney. Yeah, he's interesting. And this is see when Joe's on the radio or line on podcast, he can talk the way he wants to. But back in the day, as in the courtroom, he loses a lot of those rights. Yeah, and that is ironic that we have people who are supposed to be able to represent us can't do that, are limited to what they can say in the courtroom. I think it's a con. Okay, but we'll see. So anyway, go there, Joe, now, and you can you ought to be able to to get in there. There's a link put up there, but go there on your cell phone. Okay, go there on your cell phone. Okay, what did you say? You are correct. They're not smart. That's true. Uh, who is? Okay, wait. Hey, how about the Democrat that went to the that tried to empty Congress out by doing a false alarm, a fire alarm, a year or so ago? You know, I'm just saying that we both have our examples of people who are not beings who don't do smart things, and I'm totally agreeing with that. But again, just give me something that the guy had said that's absolutely off the rail that make me want to put him in a white jacket. I mean, just give me something. I mean, don't just say that. I mean, you know. And here's another thing: should a person that's been in America 47 years be forced out? I say no. Absolutely not. They are as part of America as I am. They've been through the hard times, the tough times, the times of feast and the times of famine. I think they've earned their wings. I think they've earned their citizenship by being a good student. I mean, by being good citizens, not getting in any trouble. I just think that's. I'm not feeling the ICE thing. I got it. I know why they're doing it. I'm with you, but I'm not feeling the way we're doing it. I'm just not feeling it. I'm not even a little bit. I'm not feeling it. Now, if you're a crook and you get caught doing crimes, and we put you on a boat, a slow boat to China, I'm all right with that. But somebody who's been there 47 years, taking care of families, raising care of families, no, that just doesn't. I'm like the Southern boat, like the Tommy Tuberville at the time. That dog ain't gonna hunt. Okay, I just don't see that. Uh, but anyway, I'm trying to get Joe Reed in if he goes into my little thing here. Um, I got to fix that. I'm gonna have to fix that because we're gonna get it next week. I'm gonna have that fixed, hopefully, so he can come in and I'll talk because he's in the studio, but he's in somebody else's studio. He's not in mine. I don't know. So Joe, if somebody lets you in their studio, uh, just let me know where you at, and I'll see if I can send my limousine over to pick you up. Uh, the number's here if you want to give us a call. If you totally disagree with me on anything, or you think you're smarter than I am, which you may be, it's rare, but every once in a while I'll run across somebody. You can give us a call at 334-521-2963. And because I love talking to people. I mean, and the smarter you are, the better. And if you're smarter than I am, I certainly want to talk to you. Okay. I certainly want to talk to you. But let me tell you what we learned in the No Kings protests. The police got smart. Okay. I tell you what. Now we don't mind y'all protesting because that's cool. Protesting is protest. Okay, I'll do that. I'll do that in a second. Here. Protesting is good. I can live with that. But what we learn is if the people know that they can't get away with torching buildings and running people out of their cars and yanking them out of their cars because you don't like the big MAGA hat, what we learn is that we got something for you. And so now you can be like the police, the sheriff guy, and the sheriff guy. Yeah, that's it. Oh, that's Joe right there. I don't know why I can't. I don't know why I can't. I don't know why. I don't know why I can't get you in the studio, man. I don't know what's up with that. So turn that down. Whatever that is you got in the background, turn that down.
Yeah, because I can't hear you. I mean, I can't. You have to send me a link. You're not sending me a link.
Oh, I'm trying to send you one now, but I'm working. But I got you on the phone.
I suppose that'll work.
It'll work for the time until I figure.
How are you?
Till I figure out. I'm pretty good. You know, was I correct?
You're the computer guy. You're supposed to know these things.
Well, yeah, well, I'm brilliant, but I don't know everything.
That's fair. That's fair.
Okay.
I'll let you go with that. I've had my morning coffee. I've cooked breakfast.
Okay. You know,
I even changed the tire waiting on you.
Yeah. Although, like I was saying, you got the only job in America that you lose your freedom of speech when you take the oath, when you take your office.
Yeah. At least for ourselves and how we feel about a lot of things. Yeah. We don't get to say a lot of things that we feel and think.
So
that's why. But I mean, but those are our rules of professional responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
And so, while other people, certainly can, I mean, when I say anything they want, I mean, what we were talking about yesterday, all the disparagement that you hear Donald Trump saying about our courts is just over the top. I mean,
but it's true.
No American president has done that. It's not true. It's not true. I mean, you can look. They're always. What a judge. I told someone who was a judge, and the advice I gave them. I said, if you're seeking, and I've never been a judge, but if you're seeking popularity, a judgeship is the last place you want to be, because your popularity rating is never getting above 50% on any day.
Well,
it never is.
Right. Because every time you go into a courtroom, somebody wins, somebody loses.
Right, exactly. So it's never going to be that much. But we've all done that. We've all been there. Now, granted, there's some judges and a lot of judges, and most judges get it right more than they get it wrong. I mean, that's just they do, like our jury system. Juries get it far more right than they get it wrong. I mean, nothing is 100%.
And I hear
nothing's perfect. We all understand that.
But recently,
but you can't go on because you disagree. You don't become disagreeable. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And in America, like I said, there's a way that you behave and a way that you act. And when you're the president of the United States, you don't act like, a 7-year-old, throwing a fit in the middle of raw because your mommy didn't buy you the candy. That's not the way you act. That's not a leader. That's not. And we ought to stop playing these games and pretending that this conduct is acceptable when it is not. Because my grandmother told me, now, when you're dealing with a fool, the only way to teach a fool that they are fools is to act one yourself. Okay. Now,
and I hear you, but again,
like I said, you keep going in this direction, and you'll get a bigger fool next time.
Well, okay. now judges are not gods.
You got one now,
right? But judges are not gods. They come under okay, so they can get talked about like anybody, because some of the decisions that come out of our courtroom are absolutely egregious. But y'all can't say it.
But not many, and not most.
Yes, many.
There are some decisions that some judges have made that leave people scratching their heads. That's true. But we don't need to take isolated incidents and start pretending that these are everyday occurrences, and take some drastic action. We need to quit. We don't need to do that.
Right.
And part of that conservative philosophy is to do that, is to take an isolated incident and blow it up as if and make it as if it is happening on a daily basis by the hour.
When I
And
first
so
got here,
something needs to be done about that.
okay, when I
You
first,
know,
yeah, but
when
yeah,
you,
but judges, listen, judges are not royalty. They get to get
never said they weren't.
like everybody else,
No, it's a job.
right?
It's a job.
Exactly.
It's under our Constitution. It's a job. They occupy one of the three branches of government.
Right.
By the way, one of the three branches your senator doesn't know.
And
That's another thing.
wait a minute. We talk about the president, no matter who he is. We talk about him too. We talk about our
Sure.
senators.
He's a,
So who made, and constitutionally, who made judges persona non grata?
no one. And I'm not saying that a judge may not draw some ire, you know, and some negative feedback by a decision, and particularly, and sometimes those decisions are, quite frankly, the right thing. Sometimes they're the wrong thing. Okay, I'll give you one example. Frank Johnson, who drafted a lot of the civil rights rulings, that a lot of those cases as to who could do what, drew a lot of ire from his associates, dare I say some people who he thought were his friends, and from the community generally. And he put himself and his family in great peril making a lot of those decisions. But those decisions proved over time to be the right thing to do. So yes, that happens. But it's a tough job. What I'm saying is that the demonization of our judiciary by the president of the United States is beyond the pale.
Well, that's funny.
That's
They
the
sure
stuff.
misused. Wait a minute. They sure misused him with some when he was running for this office, and nobody had a problem talking about him. I don't blame him. Somebody ought to say something about
I
it.
don't. Regular people in the street, the media, they're going to do what they're going to do. That's okay. But once you get to a certain position, there's a certain dignity, Kevin, that comes with the office of being
And that's on
president.
both sides.
There's a certain dignity that comes with the office of being in the House of Representatives. There's a dignity that comes to being the Senate. I won't forget when Oklahoma Senator Mark, I can't say his last name, he's a former MMA fighter, challenged somebody to a fight. I mean, this is, and Bernie Sanders had to say, "Sit down, you're a U.S. Senator." That guy is not, he's too small for the job. And he is what happens when small people get big jobs, okay, who can't handle it. When you don't have the maturity, okay, to deal with it. When you don't have the depth to deal with the job. You don't have the experience, you have the training, you don't have the exposure. You're simply not, you're in the slot, but you're not capable of doing this thing. And he's one of those guys. And there used to be a time where America would strive to send its best and its brightest. And I think the country thrived. Sure, we had our growing pains, no question about that. But America thrived under that. Now we seem to be scraping, in my opinion, the bottom of the barrel or something near to it, getting the average or below average person, sticking them in places where they ought not be, and then expecting good things to happen.
Mhm.
And that just doesn't work any place.
The one of the problems, but here's a
This is what I told you. This is what I told you yesterday.
Right.
You were a paratrooper. You drove out airplanes.
Yeah.
Should we make you the head of the FAA?
Oh no, because I don't fly them.
No, well, should we? Why not?
Well, no.
Look at your Health and Human Services director now. The appointment, Robert Kennedy Jr.
Right.
Who's a nut? Who's a conspiracy theorist and a nut? Okay.
Well, it's
no medical training, nothing like that.
Right. Now that one,
Health and Human Services, and he knows nothing.
Right. That's the only appointment that I found to be somewhat difficult to swallow because he's not a medical professional. And why is he? But I would imagine the president gets, maybe sometimes you just need common sense. I mean, I don't know.
Does he have that? Well, I mean, on the one hand, his sister was talking about him. Okay. And his sister said, while he was out here telling people don't get a vaccine during COVID, don't get a vaccine, he was the main one running his kids to make sure they had one. See, that's the BS I'm talking about.
Well, that's hypocrisy.
Okay,
but
that's the that's the BS.
Right.
And so certain people just shouldn't be in places. Because we can disagree how to handle it. You and I decide we want to go to Birmingham. All right, you want to go up 65, but I want to take 31.
Right.
And we can debate the wisdom of that. Okay, we can debate that. Okay. But if we're trying to go to Birmingham, and I'm saying let's go to 85 north towards Atlanta, I'm not telling you we can't get to Birmingham from Atlanta, but that's really not the way to go. Particularly on a time crunch. Okay,
But let's circle back around to some of the judgeships, though. Plessy versus Ferguson was a dumb, and I would call it an un-American thing that the court came up with. Okay,
you got no you get no argument from me, and that was who was sitting on the court at the time. That was prevailing mentality at the time.
Mhm.
You simply that's what that was.
Mhm.
And
But
you
what
know,
about
if you can,
what about the people
pardon?
that spend? What about the people who spend 20 and 30 years in jail for being wrongly accused, wrongly sentenced? They can't ever get that time back because
Oh,
somebody was more interested in their winning the case. And what about when you found evidence that you can't admit into the court system that would have probably exonerated some people, but because it didn't meet the strict standards of evidence and how you in a timely manner, we got people sitting in jail right now.
well, all right, because you raised about 3 issues in
Yeah.
that statement. Okay, so I'm gonna try to, if I can remember them, because I got to follow you down this rabbit hole, and then try to go back to the top and take this one at a time. I don't disagree with you. There are people. What happens when these injustices occur? For instance, right now, there's an article I think Kyle Whitmire wrote. I think I'm gonna give Kyle credit if he did or didn't write the article, but it's about a man who's in prison right now for, I think, a confession of, I think it's a rape and a murder, and there's DNA. Okay, and he says he was coerced, but DNA wasn't available at the time, but it is now. So there are a lot of cases that are coming back. Okay, that are coming back and that are being reopened, and we call them Rule 32s. So Rule 32 is a post-conviction remedy where if you have, it's a back door, just to address what you're talking about, which will allow someone to say, look, to challenge the conviction based upon okay,
Mm-hmm.
and you file that, the state's heard, judge rules, and that making it simple. That's what happens, but it allows you to do that. So there are mechanisms to overturn a conviction even after it has happened. Okay, so just in case, but for the most part, the court has to have some finality. But there are avenues that you can challenge these things. So when you've got scientific
And you got to
evidence,
have money.
that happens. But
you got to have money to challenge them.
well, let me say you do, and there's some pro bono organizations and groups like the Alabama Innocence Project.
Yeah.
Brian Stevenson, what he does, and he's been very successful at overturning convictions. But to your point, to make what you said, and I agree with you. Yeah, I'm disappointed when lawyers start looking at, start trying to say that 2 + 2, and particularly prosecutors try to say 2 + 2 = 5. Okay, and that 3 minus 2 is 0. Okay, I mean some things and so when I watch prosecutors try to defend what I call the indefensible, or things that they ought to know in your conscience, you ought to know something's wrong here. And the case I was referring to is that case. The state of Alabama is still fighting it. They're still fighting that case. Still saying, well, making excuses for why the DNA is not reliable. We all know what that stuff is. That's science now. It can't, when they find someone, when your DNA is not there, and particularly in this case, it was a sexual assault case, your DNA is not there, but somebody else's is, okay? You might want to think about giving this person a new trial. You might want to think, yeah, we may have gotten this wrong, okay? But prosecutors all too often have a vested interest in, to your point, winning. All right. You can say you're seeking justice, but if you're worried about what your quote conviction rate is, worried about how you look, and you rather keep somebody who didn't do something in jail, that's not good. Now, I'm not saying that happens everywhere, but it's happening right here, right now. And I'm disappointed in our attorney general for not stepping in and fixing that and handling that. But somebody has to judge it, and judging is important.
Well, Justice
it is.
Roberts,
If you
Justice Roberts the other day said, and I heard when it's whining, talking about, well, we ought to be careful how we attack judges and what we talk about. Well, to me, a judge is no better than any other profession, except they have people's life in their hand. But they personally are accountable for the decisions that they make, and they are accountable to us. And most of the time, though, we can't do anything about it. So I personally don't mind Trump getting on him, because what I saw during his election last time and what they did to that man when he was in the White House, making all kind of spiritless rulings and stuff like that, it boggled my mind. And I'm not even a lawyer, and I was boggled.
Okay, like I said, you said a whole bunch of things in that statement.
That's right.
So, look, with presidents are not kings either. Okay,
true. Neither are judges.
Right, agreed. And a judge has to do his or her job. Okay, the Congress has to do its job. The president's job is to enforce the laws. The executive branch's job, enforce the laws. Congress makes the laws. As simple as I can put it, Congress makes them, the judges interpret them, and the president enforces them. That's what it is. What the president doesn't get to do, which is what this president is trying to do, is to tell you he can not only enforce the law, but he can tell you what it is. So he now wants to supersede what the judge's job is.
Well, wait a minute.
Now I'm going to tell you what it means.
And I hear you saying, but now I've also heard judges say the law is what I say it is.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
And that's a true statement. It is.
It is?
That's true. That's what the judge says it is. At that moment, sure.
At that moment, okay.
Yeah, that's not true. If the judge, whatever the judge, because he or she is the judge. So yes, that's a true statement. We go through it when I say, and I tell anybody, calm down. You're in Montgomery. On any given day, I don't care whose courtroom you go to. Okay, I think Montgomery has outstanding judges, and I'm sincere when I say I'm saying they're practicing from, but I've gotten to know a lot of them over the years, and they all try to do the right thing. And that's, I think they're all morally sound. They all try to do the right thing, and none of them necessarily agree with everything everybody does, but generally speaking, they all see that stuff for what it is. And 90% of the stuff, it is what it is. I mean, you can see it. It doesn't take a whole lot of gamesmanship, and maneuvering to get here. You're not turning yourself into a pretzel to try to get someplace where you want to go. But we've got really good judges here, but our judges are elected. So they are accountable. They're accountable every 6 years in elections, and people can decide to do it or not. But I encourage people to go down, see, watch, listen, and stop listening to talking heads, and particularly those on Fox News saying wild and ridiculous stuff that is not happening in the actual world that we are living in. Mm-hmm. Go down and look at it. Mm-hmm. and see what I'm saying. And I challenge you and see for yourself. Then come back up here and talk to you about it.
And I'm here, but listen, I live in a nation right now that's telling us as somewhat educated people that a man can turn himself into a woman. Okay,
we know that's
I don't have my confidence level of our system right now is on borrowed time, because I'm telling you, and so for all these years, all these Harvard people, and now we got Harvard who has a $53 billion endowment, wants taxpayers' money from people who want to send their kids to college and can't afford to, because the government, they want $2 billion. I'm with Trump. $2 billion from the U.S. government when they got a $53 billion endowment. Okay, so I'm make it make sense.
But that's not why he's doing that, Kevin.
Why should we give them money?
That's personal. That's petty. And he's not doing that.
$2 billion
doesn't need the money.
$53 billion.
He's giving tax cuts to the wealthiest people right now. They're
the ones who create the jobs. They're the ones who pay the most taxes.
Come on.
They made the rich pay most of the taxes in America. Poor folks don't.
Kevin, what if somebody go look at, and I don't know, because Trump won't show us what he made. We don't know.
But again, rich people pay most of the taxes. Is that not true?
For what argument I'm going to give you, let's hypothesize that and say, okay, Kevin, let's say, yeah, and I'm going to put a period behind that. Fine. But when you got regular people, and this is where you and I may differ, when you got regular people suffering out here, okay, and I see the suffering, okay, I see it. When you got people who cannot afford to go to a doctor, all right, and I'm a dog leg for a second. I had a guy who called me yesterday who told me that he was working on something, been shot by a power line, and he set up on power had done something they should not have done, and said he was injured. And I asked him, I said, well, tell me what happened. And I said, you go to a hospital in ER? He told me no. And I said, well, wait a minute, why not? And he said, because I couldn't afford it. He said, I don't have the money. I don't have health insurance. I said, well, if you go to the ER, they got to see you. He goes, I can't pay for anything. So the suffering that he's been doing because he can't. I mean, that's a regular guy.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
That's a regular guy. Okay. And this regular guy doesn't have health care. He can't go see a doctor.
Wait a minute.
Do I have an issue with that?
Wait a minute. I thought Obamacare was going to make health care affordable to everybody.
Well, let me finish what I'm saying before we get down that rabbit hole. What I'm saying is that here's someone who doesn't, for whatever reason, I didn't get into that with him. What I'm saying is what he told me, which is that he didn't go see a doctor. He didn't have the money to do it, to get the care that he needed. Now, here's what happens. Like I said, I tell people, and I tell you this, because, y'all think y'all Republicans, and I went to school with a bunch of them, the real, what I call real ones, not Dixiecrats, which are Republicans down south. Okay. Those are Dixiecrats, different group. When I talk Republicans, I went to school with the descendants of the Heinz, as in Heinz ketchup. Okay. And the Rooneys, who own the Steelers. They don't play for the Steelers. They own the Steelers. Okay. All right. The descendants of the Carnegies, the descendants of the Mellons, people like that. Okay. I get why they're Republicans and what, the business aspect. I get that part of it. Okay. What happens is that people who are suffering here, they don't need, okay, another tax break of 1% or 2%, because I can tell you what that matters to them. Okay. That's going to mean another Lamborghini, okay, another ski house in Aspen, okay, another house in Paris, okay.
Somebody's got to build. Somebody's got to build it.
Hold on. That's when you start moving points like that, $250,000, they don't need it, and they'll tell you that.
But it's their money.
Jay Rockefeller was a good friend. Jay Rockefeller, good friend of my father's, said the best thing that happened to him was marrying when he was senator of West Virginia. So the best thing that happened to him was marrying his wife, who was a regular lady from West Virginia. Because he said he did not understand what people were going through. He said they had houses in every country in Europe. Hear me? They didn't know anything about the price of anything. They just didn't do it. It didn't come up. They can. Whether something's $100, whether something's $10, whether it's $1,000, it did not matter because they had so much money. My point is this: we don't need to be giving tax breaks to the wealthiest people in this country on the backs of regular working folks.
If they already paying a lot,
now that's where I am on it.
Okay, if they're already paying a lot of taxes, then why shouldn't everybody else pony up and pay their part? The rich people.
I'm not saying people should. I'm not saying people shouldn't pay taxes. What I'm saying is that some of us can stand it a whole lot more, and those of us who can stand, like I didn't have any problem when my taxes went up paying for public education here in Montgomery County. I didn't gripe about that. I know some people did. I didn't gripe about it because I'm a child of public education. All right, went to Forest Avenue Elementary School. I went to Cloverdale Junior High, which is no longer. Went to Jeff Davis, which is no longer. Buildings are different, the names are different. That's where I went to school. So I'm all about public education. I think it's great to educate the masses and everybody.
Well,
I think education
let me
is something rich people ought to have access to.
Because sometimes you remind me of a preacher. Let me ask a question. Most of us, and agree or disagree, you tell me when you're. Most of us, including myself, are in the position we are in because we either didn't make good decisions or we didn't stick to. It's our fault. It's not the rich man's fault that I didn't go to school, you didn't go to school, somebody didn't learn to do the job, and they were in the wrong sperm count. Okay, wrong sperm
You
donor.
touched on some.
So why should we blame people? I mean, the Bill Gates of the world, the Bezos of the world.
Not blaming him.
And so
Not
you want
blaming
to
him.
punish them because they figure out a way. And Bezos is hiring hundreds and thousands of people, and now you tell me, yeah, but he don't pay enough taxes. Well, if it weren't for him, a lot of people wouldn't be paying taxes because they wouldn't have a job.
Okay, so what does that mean? Let me ask you, why? Look, your money, my money,
Yeah.
90% of folks out here who work every day,
Yeah.
our money spends the same way as Jeff's money spends, except Jeff's in a lower tax bracket because of the way he gets his money.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there's a problem with that. Something's up with that. Okay, something's up with that. When if I can buy and sell, if I can buy and sell, hold on. If I can buy and sell, if I can buy buy stock, sell stock, I sell that because it's capital gains.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be taxed at a lower rate than if, let's say, if you were flipping a house, which is going to be taxed at quote ordinary income.
Right.
Okay. I'm like, all income is ordinary. It's the same dollars. It spends the same way. But why do some people get a break on the way they get their money and other folks don't? When I was in law school at Pitt,
yeah,
there was no tax on clothes or food. That was 30-something years ago. We are in one of the poorest states in this country. You know, Alabama is top 7 for poverty. Did you know that?
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that?
But why is that?
You knew that.
But why is it?
Yeah. Well, I'm just a lot of Southern. There's lots of reasons. I want to get into that. Let's just talk about what it is. We should have a long time ago. Okay, we should have knocked off taxes on clothing and food. That's ridiculous that we're still dealing with that today. Okay,
if we take
it's ridiculous.
Joe, if we take tax off food, all they're going to do is redistribute that same tax on something else.
Sure, I say perhaps, but what it does, Kevin, is that I'm saying fine. No, it's not fine, but there's some of us that are far more vulnerable, Kevin. That's what I'm saying. Than others. Okay. And that's something that I am sensitive to, okay? Because everybody doesn't have everything. And to your point before, children don't pick their parents.
True.
They don't get to do. You don't get to pick who you're born to, who your mom and daddy is. You don't get to do that. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to blame children for where they're born. I'm not going to tell people pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
But you didn't answer my one question.
And you don't have any boots.
But aren't we responsible in part? And the biggest responsibility to your future is you.
Sure, Kevin. But it's hard to tell that to a 3-year-old.
Well, I got that. But as you get grown, you make decisions about going to school, not going to school.
Agreed. Agreed. But these are shaped when they're shaped when you're younger.
Right. So why blame?
I don't disagree with you.
Yeah. So why blame the rich man because the poor man didn't do what he needed to do?
I'm not blaming him. That's what I'm saying. So you're hearing this a different way. Yeah. I'm not blaming anybody who's wealthy. I'm not hating on anybody. That's not what is happening here.
You want to take,
the Bible says too much is given, much is required. No, I didn't say take. I would say the number of billionaires. Okay, probably since 1995 or 2000. I saw this someplace. I'm gonna go back and shoot it to you next. So I get the exact number. It's like double or triple. There are like 30 people who have as much wealth, okay, as everybody else.
Okay.
In this country.
I wish I was one.
Hold on. What's this? And everybody else wishes they were too.
Yeah. So
okay. What I'm saying is that they're billionaires. There used to be a time when a billionaire was something that was just rare. I mean, you didn't even know. You multimillionaire was a big deal. I can remember that.
Yeah.
There's a billionaire on every freaking corner now. Okay.
Of course, the money's worth less, but
Well, it's not stopping them. But let me get back to what I was saying, because you tend to throw me off sometimes. What I'm saying is that I'm not blaming anybody for being rich. What I'm saying is that when you have something like that, more is going to be required of you.
Says who?
Okay. More is required.
But says who?
I think says my religious teachings, Says my moral compass. More is required.
Okay.
Says what Dr. King would say. Says what Dr. King would say. The moral arc of the universe.
If you
Says
hire
something is
people,
required.
if you spending that money on hiring people, giving them a way to make a living so they don't live outside, paying taxes, that's not giving?
First, that's not a gift, number one. But I understand your point. I understand your point. What I'm saying is that we gotta fix the issues that are in this, the wealth disparities that are in this country, and that's not socialism. Let me be real clear about that.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm saying is that more has to be done by those who have it. That's what I'm saying. Okay, more stuff has to be done because it is very difficult to sell what you're trying. This trickle down economics that Reagan sold 40 years ago, that George Bush 41 called voodoo economics, and he was right. These things aren't trickling down to people; they're trickling up.
All right.
They're definitely not trickling down. And so, because you and I, we touched on so many things, and wish people could have heard the conversation we had last night. But I'm just saying that more can be done by people in the upper echelon, this top 1/2 of 1%. What I'm saying is they do not need another break. Okay, the people who need a break are the folks who are working 2 jobs right now, who still are having trouble making ends meet. The gentleman called in earlier talking about how expensive a loaf of bread was. You think Bezos even knows or even cares?
Well, let me answer. It's my understanding that if all the rich people in this country gave all their money away, we would still have poor people.
I think we'll have them no matter where you go.
Exactly. So,
okay.
So why should he?
All right. I'm not.
So we're always going to have. The Bible says that.
Well, but it does. The Bible does say that, but it doesn't say you don't do anything either.
Well,
all right.
Again, I don't know.
And I'm not trying to have a Sunday school lesson, on a Wednesday morning. I'm actually going to bring you back to something you said when we started talking earlier, because now you got me on a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
I'm bring you back to judging and being president. Okay.
Well,
what you don't do. Okay. What you don't do. Okay. It is not presidential to disparage. Okay. The co-equal branch of government. Okay.
They did it to him.
Bully them.
They did it to him.
No, the judges did not do. The judges didn't do it.
Yeah, they made some dumb
rulings.
rulings.
Their job.
They made some dumb rulings that were predatory.
Like what? Like which ones?
Like when they.
My mom would say to me. My mom said once before. I told her.
How's Miss Molly?
She said she's fine.
Good.
She's all right. But I told her that she spanked me too much when I was a kid. I told her she spanked me too much.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I said, you always spanking me. And you know what her response was?
What?
She said, you always doing something.
Well, that may be true.
Okay. Now,
I got
so the judges are ruling the way they're ruling because the president is doing stuff he can't do.
Well, we can have that conversation another.
I mean, judges don't right. No, we had it last night, but I'm saying judges don't. Look, the judge's job is to tell you what the law says you can do.
No, the judge's job is to tell you what they think the law says you can do.
Well, but there was a saying that says the judges aren't. I think it's judges aren't final because they're right. They're right because they're final.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
They got a God complex often.
No, it's like the Supreme Court. Mm-hmm. I've seen a lot of rulings that I personally disagree with, but I'm not sitting there.
Yeah.
And perhaps if I were sitting there, it may come out a different way. Okay. But this is what we got. And what's been given and what Trump thinks is that his appointees on the court are to do his political bidding.
No, and I don't believe that.
I don't. He believes it.
Well,
he believes it.
Well, he
okay,
to believe it, but
right. He believes it, and he's insisting on it.
Mm.
Okay, and what I'm trying to tell is what you and I talked about last night. Americans better be very careful. Okay, very careful of this, because these things start to touch on the same things that happened in Nazi Germany in the 30s. When Hitler took power, when the Nazi Party took power. Well, I don't.
So you don't. Wait a minute. You don't think the
hold on. Let me finish.
No. The Democrats last year, when they kept going after the Jewish students in these schools, what the hell was that all about?
Kevin, Don't say Democrats were going after Jewish
They
students.
were.
That's not accurate. Kevin, that's not, you know, that's as ridiculous. So
Well,
this was
that's
a
funny because the
ridiculous thing to
president
hear.
of Harvard at that particular time, which was a black woman, at that particular time, said she found.
Did she say she represents the Democratic Party?
Of course, she represents the Democratic Party.
How so? Because
She
of what
certainly
reason?
wasn't Republican.
Oh, wait, hold on. Whoa. Hold on. She wasn't the chair. She wasn't elected to anything in the Democratic Party. Okay, so you're saying simply because she's a black woman.
That's right.
Wait, she didn't. No. That's not what you. I'm getting back to what you said.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what you said was she was a Democrat, and I said based upon what?
She followed the edict of the Democrats.
What edict?
Anti anything that they didn't like.
Okay. Anti anything they did. Okay. I don't know what that means, but I'm gonna ride with you right now. I'm gonna ride with you right now.
Joe, I gotta go. I gotta get you down. We gotta do this in person. We'll get together again. But it's always good talking to you, my friend.
It's always good. It's always good talking to people, even though we disagree. I told them, I said we're not disagreeable.
No.
And you like a broken clock. You're right twice a day.
Yeah, and you
but I'm
roll
gonna get you
most
right.
of the time, so we good. Appreciate it. Thanks. Well. Always an interesting conversation with attorney at law Joe Reed. Always an interesting thing. And you know, one of the things I do say that I think we don't take enough accountability for the things that we're responsible for in our own lives. And the one about the man said he couldn't afford to go to the hospital. He could listen. I thought I thought that this whole thing with Obamacare was supposed to take care of healthcare. I mean, that's why now you got the IRS will ding you if you don't have healthcare. They'll fine you. So if you can't afford healthcare, then the IRS will give you a fine because you don't have it. Which means now you doubly won't have it. So what was all that about then? It was smoke and mirrors. It made it seem as though they cared. But basically what they did was they actually caused some healthcare expenses to even get higher than they were. Okay. So I'm just telling you, I don't again, are we responsible for where we are? I'm not mad at rich people. I wish I was one of them. Okay. I'm not. But my mindset now, if I blame anybody, I think it's a culture thing where there's a group of people in this country who are taught to survive. We're taught to survive and not to prosper. We're taught to survive. See, the executive branch does not have the authority to create laws. True. Even the executive orders have to be constitutional, and we're seeing every day the Republican Party, who's a majority, I might add, along with SCOTUS, are completely allowing this dictator and this regime to completely dismantle the Constitution along with the amendments. I'm good. Give me an example. Just give me an example. That's all I'm asking. Hey, and nice to see you, man. What's the name of that baseball team you are coaching now? But give me an example. It's always good to make these allegations. Just give me an example, a concrete example where somebody's trying to be a dictator, and I'll go along with you, you know, because you think I want to dictate it. I've been to countries like you think I want to dictate it. Of course not. But I also want somebody with some gonads, okay, with a good set on them, so he can speak up for the people. Because for years and years and years and years, Republicans have just been down there getting rich on great stock quotes, and the poor is still left out there. So now here's another thing about the Republicans, though. The Republicans don't get mad at you if you're rich. They like being your friend. Democrats get mad at you if you come up with a great idea. I mean, look at Bezos. This guy started something in his garage. Okay. He started something in his garage and he become a multi-billionaire. Okay. And everybody else said, well, he got too much money. Well, he the one came up with the idea. He the one who worked it. He's the one that did all those things where he could become prosperous. We got to get out of this. We have to get out of this survival mentality. You just do what you got to do to survive. I've heard that all my life. No, do what you have to do to prosper. If it means going to school the extra 2 years, then go to school the extra 2 years. If it means getting a job, not having a date, not being able to go to the movie, barely affording something to eat, that's fine right now. Because what you do now will pay off later. But at some point, we have to look in the mirror and say, maybe I am where I am because I am who I am. Okay, me too. I could have did a lot better. Seriously, I could have did a lot better. Yeah, but hey, I was and it ain't that I love rich people. No, 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 no. That ain't the deal at all. Why can't you give you a radio job or buy you a radio station of your own? Well, because they don't owe me that either. Nobody owes me anything. I'm still humping. I'm still trying to my best do what I need to do. But nobody owes you anything. You got to get out there and get it. I've had some conversations, and I have had some offers of buying a radio station, but they wouldn't sell it. You can't buy things if people don't want to sell them. So we these conversations have been going on. Okay, so but again, I can't tell the left hand what my right hand's doing. Okay, I'm just saying. Okay, but it ain't that I love. It ain't that I love rich people. I just think that we get jealous sometimes because they happen to be rich. Not that they earned it, not that they came up with an idea, they built a better mousetrap. But, they did what they did. And in the world today, if you with AI being artificial intelligence, there are a lot of people getting rich off that. My son is going into this cyber thing. Well, there's going to be money in that. Okay, so the only thing I knew how to do was hard work. And hard work don't make you rich most of the time. It just make you tired. So sometimes you just got to be better than the other guy. Okay, you just do, because getting mad at him won't change a thing. It won't change a thing. Not a thing. Not a thing. Anyway, my time's just about up. So, but I appreciate you guys. Birthright citizenship was made for slaves. It was not made. Okay, it was not made for everybody. It was made for slaves initially, so they could be considered part of the American dream at that particular time. It was not for anybody who just comes over here, drops a baby, and gets birthright. It wasn't meant for that. Okay, but we'll get back. We'll get to that in another time. Anyway, I guess I gotta go now because time's up. So don't you guys, but don't give up. Just keep going. Keep doing your thing, and we will. I don't like that song. Is that a good one to leave out with? How about this one? Oh yeah, that's one. That's it. That's time to go. Time to go. I will play this later on today, and we'll rehash this thing. Gotta go. It's all over. But the thing is,